This is The Speaking Show. I'm David Newman, and you're tuned in to the #1 podcast for speakers, consultants, and experts who want to speak more profitably. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. mi-KAL-o-wits of Fix This Next. How are you, my friend?
Well, I'm doing well. I'll take the man. I don't know about the myth and legend. I think not there. But yes, thank you. I'm doing well, David.
Well, we're living in this crazy upside down time. And I believe your first big breakthrough book was The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur.
Yeah. And the whole
I
concept.
bet you miss that brand these days.
Right. It's funny. You know what's so funny? So there is a slight uptick in its normal purchases. And I wonder if part is because of the subconscious relation to toilet paper. But real quick, the concept of toilet paper entrepreneur was living in scarcity and how do we thrive in that? So it's kind of ironic.
It is, right? Everything old is new again. It comes back around. Well, I do want to ask you, even before we talk about Fix This Next, which will be the main focus of our time, just watching you as a thought leader and book after book, concept after concept, you are really the master of the pivot. And sometimes the next book or the next theme or the next big consulting thing where you're certifying people, it has nothing to do with the previous one. So It's almost like you're inventing and reinventing your business every, 4 to 5 years, roughly? How does that work?
Yeah. So I release a new book every 2.5 years on average now. And behind it, I will start a business. So either I'll license it out or manage the business to some degree myself. But I have a president in each place because my passion is writing books and being of service. How the concepts come about is simply by asking my readers, what do you need next? And Fix This Next, the timing is coincidental, but it was, how do we handle crisis? Now, we were talking more at the time as I was writing it, micro crisis, a competitor comes up or your niche goes away. But now we have a macro crisis, which is invoking faster micro crisis. So that's what readers wanted. And it's kind of ironic that this is kind of needed now.
Now, it's funny because messaging in this crazy upside down time is a very interesting challenge, right? When people are hiding under their desk, we're talking about growth. We're talking about scale. We're talking about going big with your next big thing. And how are you able to pivot that now when it's really about survival and, keeping your company afloat and keeping your head above water? Maybe the message now is more about survive now, thrive later. But how are you personally and with your clients and with your other consultants, that you have certified, how is that big messaging shift taking hold right now?
So the first step is always empathy and understanding. So the thing is, since this is a macro crisis, there's a lot of relatability. But even if it's someone going through something more severe, and many of my readership is, pointing out to, I get it, this is very difficult, and we should not expect this quick fix. So the first thing is empathy. The other thing that's interesting is, I think for all of us, this is an opportunity for leadership. It's needed more than ever. And what I mean by that is, when a shock goes to a system like this, most people freeze up and then this stampede starts going of panic. We can see the manifestations in running for toilet paper. Well, at the same time, people are like, who do I follow? Who do I lead? So we are looking for competent and confident leaders that say, this is the way out. And how we do that is through condensed but heightened communication, which I mean is communicate more frequently, but not these diatribes that people are sending out. We're too stressed out. Communicate more frequently in smaller bites. So that's the other thing I did. And then start getting early wins. We need to build our confidence up again. So it's empathy, heightened communication, and really micro wins, as opposed to change your business around is, can we retain that one client or can we engage a new client? Something that small but measurable starts building that positive momentum again.
Now, you said something really profound a couple of minutes ago that I would just love to dig into. You say, I write a book and I build a business behind it. Yeah. So it's almost like you never write a book unless you have the business concept, the business empire behind it. And you realize, well, to launch this thing, I need to write this piece of thought leadership so that other people can get on board. I popularize the idea, and then you recruit a whole bunch of other really smart consultants, trainers, speakers to help you popularize it and implement it with their own client base, correct?
That's exactly right. There's 3 stages that I follow. The book positions a person as an expert on a subject or content. It's a little bit ironic because I can be espousing the same stuff like what we're talking about now, and it's not seen as credible as when it's in print. So it's just a response to that. So a book's a great way to position authority and knowledge. Then the second stage is the monetization of it, is the creation of products. You can make online courses, the obvious things, and other products. But then the scalability is in creating an organization that certifies people in that process or gives a higher degree of access to it. So that's what I do. The three stages is write a book, create some kind of product for the monetization, and then create the scalability through an organization. And right now we have 3 companies, and we're just in negotiations to start a 4th company in 2021.
I'm just going to, because I don't know the inner workings of your business, at least not yet. Is it Pumpkin Plan, Profit First, then Clockwork?
You nailed it. Yeah. So Pumpkin Plan has Pumpkin Plan strategists. Profit First has Profit First professionals. And Clockwork, it's called RLC, or Run Like Clockwork. And it's a whole training suite we're rolling out on that process.
Hey, good looking. Are you currently getting paid to speak? Would you like to ramp that up? We can help. Book a confidential speaker strategy call with our team at doitmarketing.com/call, and let's see what we might do together. The call is free, but the results may be priceless.
Now, for folks listening, because there are a lot of thought leaders, coaches, consultants listening, you totally want to pay attention to this because this is a huge, huge business model mindset reboot. And the other thing I have to tell you, Mike, and I'm not sure if there's a secret sauce or some DNA that you can share around this. Ever since Pumpkin Plan, which is where I first really started to follow you, when that book came out, I must have heard from 5, 6 different people, you have to read Pumpkin Plan. Then Profit First came out. You have to read Profit. I mean, you write these books. So the books really have to be incredibly sharp, smart, content-rich, relevant, etc. How do you nail that you have to read formula where one business owner, one entrepreneur will tell 5 more or 10 more, and it becomes the must read? If you're in business today, you got to read Pumpkin Plan. It's going to help you focus. You got to read Profit First. It's going to help you put more money in your pocket. You got to read Fix This Next.
Yeah.
It's going to help you survive now and thrive long term. What's the have to read formula that, as you know it as an author?
First, it's finding the subject. Like, what are people thirsting for? And it's really easy. Just ask, and people will tell you. We run surveys regularly. We just finished a survey about 2 weeks ago, and from 700 respondents, the number one need is simply confidence right now. So it's like, okay, how do we address confidence? But then we follow that same formula I told you earlier. Then you must achieve empathy. So write a book around a subject people want. Then empathy, then leadership, saying, we've got this. And I have a path that I've researched and found others done. You can do the same. And then small wins. So ironically, it's the exact same formula in crisis that you use in preparing a book. You need that relatability. And I think some authors lose that. They come across as an authority. They come across as an academic. But then there's a sense of pandering, and it loses the reader. You know, there's some really insightful stuff in those books, but they're losing the sense of the connection with the reader. So that's critical. And then you have to give readers wins. If I can have someone's life changing in some aspect within chapter 1, they're going to read chapter 2. And if I can repeat that in chapter 2, they'll go to chapter 3. And that's how I formulate my books. The last thing is, for me, that's the biggest commitment of mine, is writing extraordinary books. And it takes me a long time. It takes me about 5 years. And I don't know if they're extraordinary until readers tell me, yes, or it sucks. And some of my books failed that test. Surge is one of them. But I've written with the devotion of serving the reader, and that's the starting point.
Absolutely. Amen times 10. Well, let's spend a little bit more time on Fix This Next, because I know that this is the next big thing for you, but it's also how we can find our next big thing.
Yes.
Right? Or where to focus our business in tuning, tweaking, upgrading, scaling, expanding. Tell us about Fix This Next, the overall concept, and then also tell us a little bit about that business DNA that you've studied and how that genome, if you will, plays out in a lot of companies.
Sure. So it's interesting, David, as I was studying businesses and interviewing business owners, and I own multiple businesses myself, I noticed that how I behaved in my business was a constant stream of putting out fires. I would have an agenda or a plan for the day or the year, but it would rarely come true because I was just constantly putting out whatever fires presented in email or were lined up down the hallway. So I've come to the conclusion that our businesses are dictated by addressing apparent issues over the impactful issues. There's 100 things we can work on right now. They're all obvious. And so we go to the first one we see, and we ignore the one that will move us most forward because we don't know what it is. So it's apparent over impactful. What I discovered is that there is a DNA, a makeup for all businesses. I call it the business hierarchy of needs. It's a translation of Maslow's hierarchy of needs with a distinct difference. Maslow studies human needs and basically said if a core level need like physiology, I need to breathe air, eat food, if that's compromised, any needs above it are ignored until I satisfy that base level need, and then I start aspiring up the need chart again. Our senses are wired into our brain, so we do that instinctually. In our business, we also have 5 levels of need that the business has, but we're not neurologically wired into our business. Therefore, our gut instinct often guides us to the most apparent issue and the wrong issue. In our businesses, there's 5 levels of needs. Sales, which is the creation of cash. Profit, which is the creation of stability for an organization. Order, the creation of efficiency. Impact, which is the creation of transformation. And the highest level is legacy, which is the creation of permanence. And right now in this crisis, some businesses are responding by gut instinct of the owner and saying, we got to put out all the fires. Well, we have no money. I mean, our business is teetering. We got to cut prices in half to save us. We need to sell more. And that may not be the right response because we're going to the base sales, but maybe the teetering isn't the creation of cash. Maybe it's the creation of good cash, which is stability, profit. Maybe the response is actually not cutting prices, but actually reducing cost and retaining only the best customers. We need that deliberate pause to consider where we are. And we use this DNA, the business hierarchy of needs, to pinpoint what to work on next.
So right now, you're totally right that people are losing their minds in the current environment. And they're either going to go to, we need more leads, we need more sales, we need to change our offer, we need to change the substance of what we're doing. I can just imagine, for good or not, a lot of people read the Pumpkin Plan, focus like a crazy person on one particular type of business or one particular type of problem. And then whatever this coronavirus craziness has caused a lot of disruption in that sector, they go, oh my gosh. So when we're changing, when we're not only growing and scaling, but really maybe pivoting, evolving, re-looking at the whole business from square zero and asking ourselves, what business should I be in now to help my client base through this craziness with something that they want and that they need and that will garner attention, because now it's a have to have instead of a nice to have. Can we use the Fix This Next format almost to go back to square zero and build a business from the ground up?
We can. And what find and Fix This Next too is I talk about business as usual in unusual circumstances. And what I mean by that is that the core competency of what we deliver is what we are known for. And if we can retain the core competency, but can we package it in an unusual or new way, usually that best serves us. The easy example is restaurants. Restaurants are prohibited from being open. Okay, so how do we deliver business as usual, meaning the core competency of delivering food or serving food, but do it in a new packaging? Well, one technique I talk about is I call it one step back. And what we do is we evaluate the deliverable. Used to be putting food on a table, but now we can't do that. What happens one step back from that? Well, one step back is the carrying food to the table. So the delivery or carrying of food is an easy, obvious new choice. But one step back from that is the preparation of food. Okay, well, maybe the restaurant could record its 10 most popular dishes and sell the recipe set to their customers. Okay, what happens one step back before that? Well, it's the procurement of the raw materials, which is, meats, vegetables, and so forth. Well, maybe we can deliver that to our customers. So what we do in this process is we consider the core competency, but we package it in a new way. And in any deliverable for any type of company, the process to get to that deliverable is many mini deliverables, and that can become our new primary package.
What a great episode. Wowza. Tell you what, if you want to ramp up your revenue as an expert who speaks professionally, you should really check out our free online training at doitmarketing.com/webinar.
All of your systems are systems. I guess that's sort of a self-referential statement. A lot of entrepreneurs, of course, are very right-brained, creative. They've got the entrepreneurial ADD. How have you found to package your very systematic, very process-oriented ideas with the hierarchy of needs, with the focus areas, with the process of, taking one step back? How do you get an ADD, super creative, right-brained entrepreneur who's typically not a detail person to focus in on these things? What mechanisms do you use in your book? What mechanisms do you use in your teaching to address that person where they're going to be a squirrel running around the yard if you're not
Yeah. And I think I'm one of them. So there's 2 core steps. Step 1 is A book needs to be able to be condensed down to a single sheet of action. So a one-page action plan, and actually have it in Fix This Next. The idea is you can print it out, or you tear it out if you had the printed book, and just post it above your desk. Just a reference point. And it needs to be digestible very quickly. That's why it's one page. The second thing is, again, small bites. Someone with ADD has absolutely amazing attention for a short period of time. It's just these spurts. So we got to move in sprints. I designed Fix This Next and the analysis of business so you can complete in less than 5 minutes. Most people can maintain a 5-minute attention span and get results. Then when it comes to the resolution, the idea generation is actually the key. So we want the mind to run wild. Then we want to capture that and move again in small spurts in under 5 minutes. So Fix This Next is executable in 5-minute targeted focus. And that's how I manage that kind of mindset, which I think most entrepreneurs, to your point, David, are or have.
Right. Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about the business behind Fix This Next. If we are listening, we're like, oh my God, I totally need to hire someone to help me with this. I need a coach, a consultant, a sounding board. What is the business model empire behind Fix This Next? How do we participate either to help you spread this message, or how do we avail ourselves of someone who is baked in this methodology to help us?
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. So the business behind it is called Fix This Next Advisors. We started the program about 5 months ago, training our advisors. The book launches April 28th. So on the day of the launch, our advisors are ready to go. They're actually actively out there coaching and serving people already. The whole idea is these are coaches that have competencies in other areas, sales or profit or efficiency. And they've become certified in pinpointing the challenge a business has. Because many entrepreneurs, we're so deep in the weeds and in our own thought and bias, it's hard to narrow it down. So they're the ultimate diagnosers. We call them fixologists, internally. The way to get involved in applying Fix This Next or spreading the word, thank you if you want to do that, is let's do the analysis on your business first. And to do this, you can actually do it yourself by going to fixthisnext.com. We have a survey system up there, an evaluator that's totally free, and it'll take you less than 5 minutes. You answer a series of 25 questions, and it'll pinpoint what the system is identified as the opportunity for improvement. That's where you get started.
And then we love that. We read the book. We love the book. We're a consultant. We're a coach of some kind. And we're like, I got to get on board with Mike. I got to help spread this word to my clients. What's the certification process? What does that look like? How long does it take?
Yeah, so we're going to start actively looking. So we've shut down certification. We had the inaugural folks join us. We're going to open it up again in May of this year. And go to fixthisnext.com, take the evaluation to test it first. In there's a link to become an advisor or seek the support of an advisor, but also you can go to that page to become an advisor. The web domain, I can't think of off the top of my head. I think it's fixthisnextadvisors.com. We do have it available through the evaluation.
Fantastic. And we're going to link up all those goodies in the show notes right under this episode. When people go to thespeakingshow.com, under this episode, all of Mike's links, the book, the website, the certification, all the bonus goodies that come with the book for readers, correct?
Yeah, tons of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Mike, 2 final questions. Final question number 1 is, if people were to take one central concept away from our conversation today about opportunity within a state of flux, within a state of craziness, especially using the Fix This Next methodology, what would you hope that one central concept would be?
The next step needs to be the right step. And so we've got to look for the impactful issue. Moving our business forward is going to be small increments, but needs to be deliberately marching in one direction. So seek the small impactful action, not the small apparent action to take.
Love it. And then the final question is, how do people get connected and stay connected to more Mike mi-KAL-o-wits brilliance? Website, opt-ins, goodies, social media, LinkedIn. Where should people find you and keep track of you?
I'll tell you, the one spot to go where pretty much everything resides is mi-KAL-o-wits.com. But David, there's a shortcut to get there. It's called mikemotorbike.com because no one can spell mi-KAL-o-wits. So mikemotorbike.com. And that was my nickname in high school. I used to write for the Wall Street Journal. All my books, you can get free chapter downloads. I also have a podcast called Entrepreneurship Elevated. It's all there at mikemotorbike.com.
Awesome. Well, sir, I will let you get on to fix the next thing that you're going
David,
to fix.
thank you.
I appreciate you. This was totally tremendous. Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you.
Well, that wraps up another episode of The Speaking Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on iTunes. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thespeakingshow.com. See you next time.